everybody, welcome into the studio. I'm Andy. Today we're going to talk about live streaming rigs. We'll look at mine as an example and let you learn from the madness that is this setup. This is probably as far as you can go. Like you could say like ultimate stream rig setup, right? Probably. I do get many lots of compliments on the quality of my stream from other streamers and viewers. So it's not rocket science, but it is a bit complicated. So let's break it down. So first thing you need to know, you're a musician and you want to do some streaming, you want to do your music and stuff live for people online. What do you got to do? How do you do it, right? This video, I'm going to assume you already understand and have, a functioning DAW, audio cards, things like that, and understand what these things are. I am going to talk a little bit about, I have a 2-machine system with 2 different audio cards, one for each. And one's cheap and one's expensive. And I'll talk about, the kind of the differences between different audio devices as it pertains to this, to streaming, and why you might want one versus the other for this or that. Talk a little bit about that, and also just all of the at your fingertip things that make a stream kind of happen, so you know what they are, and you won't need them all, but I know when I started out, if I'd have seen something that just told me real quick and simply, here's what you can do, here's a possible scenario, without all this superfluous everything. There's so many opinions out there. That's the hardest thing about getting a live stream rig happening, I think, is getting the right information. So let's talk about my rig. What are we looking at here? Let's switch the camera so you can see. It's like this one I have to do with the mouse because it's an oddball. Okay. Stand up. My rig in the room looks like this. We are in the control room of a recording studio, and so normally all of my music is made and all that stuff kind of happens right here in this little spot. This is an iMac, where are we at? An iMac i9 2019 maybe. This is a Raven touchscreen display. It's just a touchscreen display controller for this computer. This monitor here is connected to a Mac Mini that sits way down under here. That's the stream rig, this thing, so we'll talk about that in a minute. But this is where all the audio comes from. It's just, like I said, it's this i9 iMac, and it goes to this. There's a lot of controllers hooked up to this thing, obviously, so we'll talk about that real quick. This main controller is our piano controller. And so all of the anything that's a MIDI type sound is going to be coming off of here and out of Ableton. So that's the main input for MIDI sounds. This up here is not that. This is like sound effects.
Did we just become best friends? Yep.
That kind of thing. And so that's what that's for. It just makes things more fun on the stream. Next in line of importance is probably the Nectar Pacer foot controller. And the Pacer is how I get around in Ableton, right? So if we look up here at Ableton, you can see Ableton. If you don't know anything about it, it's basically a grid full of loops. And this just has 2 channels of loops. This one's a really basic project. But what I want to do is trigger off those rows, like go down through there. And so you can see that little line, that cursor kind of, which I can move around with my foot. Oh, it's not going. Watch this. I have to unplug and replug this MIDI interface. Sometimes you have to do that with MIDI interfaces. I find, especially with Ableton, and then it will work again. And so, boom, boom, hello, here we go. Unless, oh, that's my fault. I changed the presets. I have looping presets, loop 1, 2, etc., etc., and then I have my main one. The main one is what actually has these 2 buttons, which move me up and down through Ableton. Sorry. So I go up and down like that, and then I hit this one to actually start it. Move around, hit that. And, you know, that's how it works. So this one's very, very important, this controller. It also controls my guitar sounds, you know, different pedals. Channel goes here, delay on and off. Also, this controller over here, I'll talk about this controller, but that does my delay level for my guitar. Next in importance, we have the push controller from Ableton. You can't do fixed loop or fixed length loop recording without one of these push recorders. That is a looping thing that will like press a button and it starts, and then when it gets to the end of how long you want it to go, it automatically stops recording and starts playing again. Push is the only way that you're going to make that happen. Ableton won't let it happen in any other way. So that's good to know. But I use the push, and honestly, I use this foot controller more than I use the push because it's hands-free. You know, and this, you can kind of use this hands-free a little bit, but this specifically, and so like with this, I'll have all these buttons mapped out to the cells across, like, you know, a project like that. And so that I can just like hit this and a loop starts recording and hit it again and it stops recording. And that's good for me. Like, I don't mind hitting to stop because loops aren't always going to be the exact same length. And it's easier. I like not having to worry about the loop length, which I do have to worry about with this push. And so I use the foot thing more. Now, there is one other kind of, you can't see it there, can you? So probably just jump back to this. I have this damper pedal plugged into the push. Sorry for all the wires. I'm a little messy right now. That's this camera in my hand. But this thing is connected to this push. So if something is record enabled, like that, whoa, sorry. If something's record enabled, long press there. If I, you know, then mash this, one of those, whichever that one, it's going to start recording as it did. We'll see if it stops recording too. It might be set to a long fixed length loop. Let's see. I'm letting the camera dip, aren't I? It's still going. Fixed length is set to 8 bars, quite long. I don't know. Let's test though. If we change this, sorry, to 1 bar, which you press down fixed length and then you change it right there. I changed it to 1 bar. So let's delete that. Sorry again for putting that camera down. Delete that. I'm going to press this button, 2, 3, 4. I hear a click back. Now it's recording. But it should be done because it's gone through a bar and fixed length is on. So even with that thing, you got to click it again to make that recording stop. So really, there's only one way. If I hold delete and delete that cell, the only way to do a fixed length recording in Ableton is to, like that, tap the push, off it goes, and it will stop on its own and be leaving. Oh, that's a MIDI track. I'm sorry. We should be trying this on an audio track because that doesn't help us at all. So since I've just taken you through all of this nonsense, we'll just add an audio track that's inconsequential. And if I tap it like that, it's definitely going to record 1 bar. It's blinking. Now it's not blinking. So it's done in there. Hold delete, delete it. Let's try the same thing with my foot. Press this foot controller, which is plugged into the push. It's now recording. It's now not recording. So there you go. If it's an audio track, you can totally use a controller like this hooked into your push to start off. 1 press, it'll do the fixed length recording, fixed length that you've set, how 1 bar, 2 bar, 4 bar, 8 bar, etc. If you've set it, boom, 1 press, you're off. Or use a MIDI controller and do the start and the stop. Either way, you know, whatever, it all works. So the last important MIDI controller in this setup is over here. It is the Akai LPD8. I use it to get 8 pads, 8 knobs, so it turns my mic on and off. And that's handy. You know, you got to be able to turn some reverb on and off real easily. That's handy. I can change the size of the reverb to really big to really small. Get that just dialed in how you want it. I also do a thing, and of course, like a guitar on and off, pianos on and off. Use these buttons to make your stream and stuff smoother and better. And so, this knob over here is guitar delay level. You know, there's several different things that I often forget. The top row, though, this does, the far one is a filter. So if I start things playing, let's do this one. And that's a filter that's on the whole group for the whole project. So if you look up in Raven, I have a group channel set over all of my non-live channels. Live channels are vocals, guitar, piano, stuff that's not recorded or whatever. No loops for it, it's just live. The rest all goes under a group channel, and on that group channel I have a couple of things. We've got a filter. We've got master volume for everything on that group, so I can turn the music down with my volume still up. Okay. Then we've got beat repeaters, right? So I can hold this foot pedal right here. This damper pedal is hooked up to that stuff, so I can go like this. Turn these knobs over here to control the length of the repeat and the pitch, whether it'll dive or not. There's no pitch dive, short or long beat repeat. Shorter beat repeat. Go really fast. Add the pitch dive. You know, so just something to goof around with when you're doing solos and stuff. It's fun. So the controllers, you know, the important takeaway I think from, you know, the controllers is you don't need a push to do looping. All you need is a MIDI controller of some sort. You don't need a giant pacer, Nectar pacer like this one. You can do it with like one or two simple switches. No problem. Same thing if you have anything around that has like pads or knobs on it, you can plug it in, hook it up to Ableton, and then you've got buttons and knobs to do things like turn microphones and guitars and instruments on and off really easily and fastly, like right at your fingertips. All these little things are what makes everything better, right? So that's our computer, our controllers, and the only other thing is sound cards, of course. So we've got an iMac, which is running the audio. We've got a Mac Mini M1, which is running the video, the stream, right? So two computers. And I did that, of course, because I tried to do it all in one. It's just really, really hard. You're asking a lot of a computer to do that. So lots of people do. I couldn't spend that much money on that much computer to do that stuff. This iMac, really for my main computer was probably one of the cheapest options for such a powerful computer. It's an i9 iMac from 2018 or 19. And then the Mac Mini, as the secondary streaming computer, was like $750 or something like that. It's the cheapest Mac Mini, like 8 gigabyte one. It does wonderfully. It's such a powerful and fast computer. It's the cheapest computer I've ever bought. And having that to do the stream allows me to have, you know, several cameras to do overlay stuff. We have animations for song names and stuff like this. Oh, I've got to have, OBS is very picky. Got to have your cursor in the correct place with nothing selected. But we can do animations like this, you know, when the time comes, and have all of the multiple cameras and angles available to us. That one's in my hand, of course. So that's really nice, and my audio computer will do everything I'm used to it doing. If I'm running OBS on the audio computer, good luck. You can only do like 10 or 15% of what you're used to doing. Audio hogs, or OBS hogs, that much of a computer's resources. It's insane. So, on to sound cards. Go back to this view. Oops, figure yourself out there. So, down here in this rack is where you'll get access to the Mac Mini, of course, sits down there with, it's below the blinking yellow light of the Wi-Fi router doing stuff in the control room. There's another network router. We do Dante audio networking in this studio. Look it up if you don't know what it is, because it's awesome. But this interface right here, this is the Focusrite Red 4 Pre. This is the main studio computer, the Red 4 Pre. This one has lots of ins and outs, and is kind of perfect for what I do. The one below it, this is the Scarlett. This is a Scarlett 2i2. The Scarlett is what's used for the Mac M1 for the stream computer. So you can see there are 2 inputs and 2 outputs. You don't see the outputs, but there's 2 inputs for this device. These 2 lines are coming basically from this interface as outputs. You know, just boom to boom. And therefore, all of the audio from that iMac, from this workstation, everything that I hear on my headphones is going right over to that stream. You know, perfect. Whether it's iTunes, a web browser, anything at all, it's going right over there to that computer, rest assured. And while I'm not actively listening to, you know, a monitor feed from OBS, because it's almost impossible on a Mac to do that, while I'm not actively, you know, I can see the signals there, and I know what I'm hearing. I'm hearing the exact same mix that thing is hearing. So that's fantastic. Now, let's talk briefly about audio cards. You know, like what's the difference? And it's just a good time to point out the difference in, you know, a really inexpensive audio card and one that might cost a little bit more, and why you might want to spend a little more. So your audio rig, right? In this streaming setup, your audio rig, you kind of want it to have at least 4 discrete outputs. You know, so an audio card, an audio device might call itself 2 in, 2 out, 4 in, 4 out, something like that. You want something that's got 4 outs. That way you can have one stereo out going to the stream and another stereo out going to you, right? And because you will be able to then tell Ableton, if we look over here on the master section of Ableton, and this applies to any DAW, they're all the same. You can do this with all of them. It's really easy in Ableton though. You've got, they call it Q out. It even has its own little volume down here from Ableton, but you set your Q out to be inputs, you know, 2 of your 4 inputs. For me, 1 and 2 is my master, 3 and 4 is my Q. And so Q, that just means you get the click track. You get to hear the metronome, which is essential, but no one else hears the it doesn't go to 1 and 2. It only goes to 3 and 4, which only go to your headphones. So, because that's how you've rigged it, you know, with your audio card. For me, just if you want to have a look, my audio card has many ins and outs, like 60 or 70. There's and I can do separate mixes. Okay, so mix A only has 1 and 2 outputs, 1 and 2 here. Mix B has 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So if I'm playing something, you'll see this click. Muted in mix A, but not muted in mix B. So mix B is routed to headphones 1. So that's one of the things you get with an interface like this, is you get more headphone outs. A lot of them will have 2 on them now, but there's 2 physical headphones out, and so my headphones are plugged into this one right there, and up here on the thing, headphones 1 is set to mix B. So my main monitors are fed by mix A, my headphones are fed by mix B, and that's a quick kind of breakdown of how I get a metronome in my ears, but not in the ears of the stream viewer. And so I guess really that's probably about it. Camera-wise, we've got a Sony A7 up there as the main camera. A little dry mouth there. Sony A7 III up there with the kit lens for the main camera. We have no extra lighting in here. I don't like ring lights that make little rings in your eyes, and in general I don't like light in front of me at all when I'm making music. It's kind of counterproductive, I guess, but I don't like a lot of lights, so the only light that you're seeing to get my shot right here is that little light up there. the camera, you can see that's the Sony A7 sitting right there. That's that main shot. Getting me over here, and yeah, it's just that little light. That's the only light on in here. It's daytime, of course, so there's light coming in from the outside, but that is about it, you know. So that's, you got the Sony camera up there. That's the main shot, like so. Then there is one up front like that. There's another on top. There's another for the push. There's another over on the side, which is usually doing something like that to show guitar solos or whatnot. It's just hanging out on the keyboard right now. But yeah, couple of cameras. You saw the animation thing. I do an auto scene switcher to plug in as well. So if we, that's a button. If I just turn that button on, it will in a moment start to change itself. No, I didn't have the cursor in the right place. Again, let me show you what I'm talking about. I just turned this iPhone thing off. So I don't have my, I use a Stream Deck. Okay, this thing over here. Oh, we've lost our iPhone, haven't we? It's because I made it go to sleep. Let me put it back for you, y'all. Oh, I have to be clicked on it, don't I? Will you reconnect for us? There you are. Sorry. So I use this Stream Deck thing to jump around cameras. I just connected this iPhone to make this video, which it doesn't have its own button. So over here in OBS, I have to click it. If I've clicked it, this will be active. And nothing will do, like script-wise. No scripts will run from triggers. So I have to go somewhere, like up here in the top left corner, and click to deselect everything. So now, when I go over here and I do my scene switcher on, it'll start to change the cameras. So that means when I'm in iPhone, it'll start, or when I'm in main camera, it'll start to count. And after 7 seconds, there you go. It starts to change. And after 7 more seconds, it will change back to the first one. And that's easy to set up. It's called Advanced Scene Switcher. And you can set it to your Stream Deck, the on and off. A Stream Deck is a great little thing to have, too, if you don't know what a Stream Deck is. Great value to your stream. You can assign all kinds of many things for this little device to control and turn on and off and things like that. And all those little things tied together will make your, your streaming experience more fun, easier, more fun for you and the viewers, for everybody. But it makes it easier. The less things that you have to think about, like, the better, as I'm talking to you from way up there. Take things off your plate, automate everything. Controllers are a very inexpensive way to get control of all your stuff. Why are we back up here already? Because it's not turning off. Same thing. I had just used that iPhone one, right? I'm gonna leave all this junk in here. There's no, if you're watching all this, haha. There's no point in taking yourself too seriously. I don't think. And sometimes, man, that's what happens. And these are good lessons, to kind of learn. Like I just said, if you're using OBS and you're using Scene Switcher, which is, it's fun. People like for the angles to, bounce around when you're doing a performance. And but it's the good things to know, like that stuff, this animation that animates whatever is now playing in the song list like that and who requested it. That stuff won't work if you haven't kind of deselected everything by clicking somewhere else in the canvas, like I just showed you, and it's a good lesson to learn. So that's the long and short of it. That's a 2-computer setup. Computer 1 has its audio card. Computer 2 has its audio card. Computer 1 runs a stereo line from its audio card out to the stereo inputs of audio card on computer number 2. Computer number 2 sends your stream out into the world. Just like that, you're having a blast with people from everywhere. So that's it. If you have questions, comments, drop them below, and I'll answer them. Cheers. Have a great day.